Reds have won 11 in a row. This is not a drill. That and a whole lot more coming up on the Friday edition of the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm Clay Link of RotoWire.com, here with FSWA Hall of Famer Todd Zola. Todd, always a pleasure to be on with you, man. My Reds have won 11 straight. It's a feeling I'm unfamiliar with. It was the longest winning streak for them since 1957. So this may be the only – they were off yesterday, so this may be the only 48-hour stretch in my entire life where the Reds will have an 11-game winning streak. We'll see. But it's been fun. How are you doing today?
Not as well as a Reds fan, apparently, but I've caught a few of their games. It's been fun to watch, and they're playing good ball. I mean, in that division, who knows? I don't know that you can say that their pitching is set up for the playoffs. I mean, they need Dolo back and et cetera, Hunter Green. But, I mean, I guess they could sneak away with a short series if they get that far.
You know, it's funny. The Reds have won 11 in a row, and it's like this all-time historic high for Reds fans. And meanwhile, the team coming into Cincinnati this weekend, the Atlanta Braves, they've just casually won 8 in a row, leading the division. So it's kind of, it'll be a tough test for them, and it'll be fun to see where they stand. I'm excited to see the energy at Great American Ballpark this weekend. So it's hard to believe. It really doesn't feel real, given 3-22 start last year. The whole drama with One Bill Phil Castellini telling Reds fans to shove it, essentially. And now look, the passion is still in Cincinnati. So the fans are really turning out and kind of taking ownership of the team themselves.
Who knew what having a real shortstop could do for a club?
Yeah, that's helped a lot. And it's been great. But now the Hunter Green's hurt, but we'll have to see how things go this weekend. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. But it's hard I got to pinch myself. I'll be watching closely tonight. AJ Smith-Shawver will be looking to end that winning streak against Luke Weaver. So looking forward to that. In the Stake League, Todd, Gavin Williams was already stashed by yours truly. Pat myself on the back. No, it wasn't the greatest debut for Gavin Williams, but it looked like – I didn't see it myself, but it seemed like essentially one bad inning for Gavin Williams. All of his runs in one inning, then bounced back to retire 8 of his final 9.
And as they should, the announcers pointed out that I think even more impressive, even more of a downer than giving up the runs, it's as impressive that Williams was able to come back and get 8 and get a few innings under his belt, etc. I had my eyes on some of it, not all of it. He looked, we've seen a lot of rookie pitchers at this point. He looked fine, and so things do still continue to bode well, and he's in the rotation for the foreseeable future. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but he's in the rotation for the foreseeable future. Gavin Williams, absolutely.
Lining up next week at Kansas City, so that's pretty nice. And we'll see if he sticks around. I also had another Gavin stash, Gavin Stone, so I'm hoping this one works out a little bit better than the prior Gavin stash, but we'll see. He goes right into my starting lineup.
Any Gavin McLeod?
No. Who's Gavin McLeod? Am I just blanking on that?
Who's Gavin McLeod? The captain of the Love Boat? Who's Gavin McLeod?
Okay, this is a reference. Mary Tyler Moore show.
Well, yes, but then he was captain of the Love Boat.
Okay, yeah, this is a little. This predates my time, just a little bit.
Wow, we just lost. I don't know, half of our viewers.
Sorry, folks.
Oh man. Anyway,
it's on me, folks, and I apologize.
Yes, he was Murray and Mary Tyler Moore, and then Captain Stubing on the Love Boat, which basically was just an hourly show every week, and they had all the B and C stars come on and be on the Love Boat and fall in love with another B or C star. Anyway,
whenever I hear somebody hasn't watched The Sopranos, I'm like, how have you not watched The Sopranos? I look down on now. People are probably doing that for me. And nobody's seen everything, so that's
it's not huge in syndication,
Mhm.
so it's not like you would have caught up, and it's not something you're going to catch up on, Anyway, all good.
Go back and
I set you up there. I shouldn't have done that.
You're all right. I did a quick Google search, found out who he was. You learn something every day. And Todd, in the stake league, since Gavin Williams was already stashed, Jordan Hicks was the top pickup. $21 out of 100. I had a $13 bid on him. I fell a little short. Kind of disappointed because he's got like 3 saves in the last week.
He's gone from collecting walks to collecting saves.
Yeah, yes.
And
meanwhile, Ryan Helsley on the IL.
Yeah, and
who knows how long.
Whoever had Giovanni Gallegos is still bumming because, he'll get a save here and there, but it looks like he's secondary to Hicks.
That's stuff. He had Tommy John, and it took a while for him to find his command, and still kind of a work in progress, but saves in each of his last 3 appearances.
Hicks may be auditioning to be traded. Who knows?
Now, a couple weeks ago, I think I mentioned on the show that I swung a trade for Tyler Stevenson, and after about a slow first week with Stevenson, man, he's been outstanding. So he's been a big part of the Reds surge, and with that, I didn't really have much interest in Henry Davis because this is a 1-catcher league, but Henry Davis goes for 6 out of 100, and I could certainly see that given his pedigree.
Sure,
should play quite a bit. So,
and 16 teams, 18 teams,
16 with 1 catcher.
But, you could probably go 10 or 11 guys that you're comfortable with. After that, you're looking last 4 or 5, 6 teams are probably looking to upgrade.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, if you have a spot at catcher that you're looking to upgrade, Bo Naylor's also in that mix. He goes for $2 less than Henry at 4 out of 100. So, Henry Davis, Bo Naylor, if you need a catcher, kind of an influx of young talent, I'd probably prefer Henry Davis by a hair just given the pedigree, but Bo Naylor's an interesting young player as well.
Yeah, I'd have to I don't know off the top of my head, I'd have to do a little bit of a look to see who I think will play just a little more, or maybe hit a little higher in the order because the other stuff is about the same. But I'm betting that if, in 10 leagues, half of them Naylor went for $1 more and half of them Davis went for $1 more.
Yeah, and if you need pop, Naylor may be the better bet for just power itself because 13 homers in just 60 games at AAA Columbus, just about a 500 slugging percentage, 890 OPS. So, he doesn't have the draft pedigree of Henry Davis.
Right.
Might be able to contribute to fantasy teams more immediately. And I
like
category.
Maybe this is stretching it here, just looking for a narrative. But I like how Naylor has caught Bybee, has caught Allen, has caught Williams in the minors. He's even caught McKenzie's. He's even caught some of these guys on rehab. Mm-hmm. So if that eases the transition, having caught these guys already, I think it might, especially with the pitch comm and the way we're communicating now. I think it probably has helped that Naylor has caught a lot and beat Shane Bieber. Well, you just hold the glove up, right? You don't worry too much about Bieber.
Sure. That's a good point. Now, Christian Arroyo of your Red Sox seems like a guy in this 16-team mixed league who's on and off rosters pretty regularly, added and dropped. He's added here for $6. Anything there that you've seen with Arroyo lately?
Actually, we just talked about this with James and Nick on SF and Sirius, is because James is saying he's having trouble trying to decipher the Red Sox middle infield, and I don't blame him. I wonder if that move was pre or post David Hamilton being called up. I think Arroyo will play every day versus lefties. O'Grady plays, 1 out of 4 days and maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure at this point because Hamilton's the only lefty, and you've still got Kike Hernandez and you've still got Reyes. Pablo Reyes. There's, I don't know what the rotation's going to be on a day-to-day basis. Look at the lineup and play your DFS. On a weekly basis, I don't know, unless the Red Sox have 4 southpaws on the docket, I don't know if you can just put Arroyo in there.
Yeah, they don't want to play Kike Hernandez at short anymore.
Right.
Arroyo's not an option there, right? So
not regularly. Yeah. I mean, that's where Hamilton's going to play.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of a jam, even though kind of mediocre options, it's kind of uncertain who will win out with playing time right now. But, if you need a middle infielder, I could maybe see that. Now, Samad Taylor's getting some love on Twitter for his speed, understandably. So Samad Taylor goes for 5 out of 100. Seems like a little bit of a one category play. I'm skeptical, but who knows? Playing time will be available. So Joey Votto goes for 3 to James. I had a $0 bid on Joey. It's a long recovery from that shoulder issue, but I'm pumped that he's back, and he seems to have ingratiated himself well to this kind of new leadership in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I haven't followed the lineup. Is this? I assume it's Spencer Steer that'll probably lose some playing time. Is that correct?
I don't really think so.
He was out in left
a little bit in left field.
Yeah, all right. So he was out in left. So maybe it's whoever's injured, Senzel or whoever might happen to be injured at the time, because Rake's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Rake's been good, and Votto's batting behind Steer on Wednesday. So, Steer's been really kind of quietly really strong. So, well, I guess no, I think it was Fraley, Votto, Steer, but either way, that was Wednesday, and I think Steer maybe loses a little bit. You may be right, but I think his ability to play left field probably saves him. All right, next up for the RotoWire Stake League. Let's see here. Brian Anderson of the Brewers for 3. Reese Olson for 3. Joey Wentz for 2. Jason Foley of Detroit for 2. Miguel Rojas for 2. Billy McKinney, who is known to have like one hot week every 3 seasons. He has gone off, and he goes for 2. I actually had a bid in on McKinney as well for 0. I feel like you're always going chasing with Billy McKinney, chasing the production. And David Hamilton, who you mentioned, he goes for 1. You do think he's going to play a fair amount for Boston?
I think because he's a lefty, he's going to. Yeah, I think he is. Noticeable by the absence on the list, especially with all the middle infielders. No one took a chance, or maybe they didn't. Maybe it came as a surprise, but Nick Gonzalez is
called up today, right, for the Pirates.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a complete surprise or if he came out yesterday where people could have snuck the bid in. But I want him over all these middle infielders that you mentioned. So
I was surprised to see that he is not rostered. So
okay,
that took the entire league by surprise today. Yeah, he'll Gonzalez with an S at the end, by the way.
Yes,
he was a high draft pick a few years ago, and should be pretty exciting to see. He'll probably go for quite a bit next week in this league.
Well, if Royo goes for 6, he's got to match that, if not higher.
Yeah, I would think so. Matt Manning for $1, Brandon Belts. A lot of people just patching holes here. Alec Thomas for $1. Christopher Sanchez, kind of interested in him.
Yeah.
He starts tonight, doesn't he? Let me see. He starts tonight for the Phillies. No, Taijuan Walker, then Christopher Sanchez tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm excited to see what I think Sanchez got hurt in his debut, but or in his last start, but he's an interesting young arm for Philadelphia. Let's see who else here. Jake Bowers on $0 ad. Sal Frelick for 0. Alex Wood. Will Benson's been playing quite a bit for the Reds. Paul DeYoung, Johnny Brito, Nick Anderson, Carlos Santana, David Peralta. Any of those names do anything for you, Todd?
No, I mean, they're typical fill-ins. I don't, I think that they're fine. I think, none of them stick out. I think they're all, someone has an injury or wants to replace an underproducer, and they're doing it. Brito teases, and then he has a bad outing, and then he teases again. So we'll see if he can gain any consistency there, because that's a nice scenario to work in.
Some other
the Yankees we should mention,
Some of the other top pickups from over on CBS. Emmett Sheehan, who was grabbed in this league last week. Leody Taveras, Ranger Suarez. Luis Matos, who's called up and is having an impact right away. Scott McGough seems to be back closing, so that's kind of interesting. All right, Todd. Well, with that, let's shift our focus now to our sponsors over at Rival Fantasy, and we'll talk about some of their options this week. Before we talk about them, though, let me tell you a little bit about Rival. Rival Fantasy is the fantasy platform reinventing the way daily and weekly games are played. And they've brought new games to the ballpark this year that fantasy players won't find anywhere else. Rival Fantasy's games include Fantasy Bingo, head-to-head player challenges, and Fantasy Book, where users can select over-unders for 2 to 5 players. With games like this, daily fantasy has never been better. Right now, RotoWire listeners can get a $50 protected first play. That means you win your first play, you keep your winnings. But if you lose your first entry, Rival Fantasy will fully refund you up to $50. Go to play.rivalfantasy.com/signup and use code RotoWireMLB at signup and deposit a minimum of $25 to get your first entry on Rival protected up to $50. Now's the time to step up to the plate and become a Rival today. Welcome to the arena. And the fantasy book that we mentioned there is going to be our topic of discussion today. And as usual on Fridays. But yeah, picking over-unders is fun because it's pretty tough. And I seem to, at least in recent weeks, be hitting on one and then missing on my other one. So still trying to find some consistency here on Rival. And I think one pick that we both agreed on was the under on Kenta Maeda, Todd. 4 1/3 innings in his most recent rehab outing, 4 the one prior. It isn't really built up and was really bad before the injury. So even though he's going up against Detroit, I think 17.33 points on Rivals feels too high.
Yeah, and we should quickly point out the scoring is akin to DraftKings, if you're familiar with that platform. So when we talk about over and unders, kind of put things in perspective. But yeah, that exactly for the reasons you stated, there's a lot more that can go wrong for Maeda than right. So I think that is, 17 is an easy call to go under. I should mention that whereas you've been having a little bit of good success lately, I have been ice cold.
Well, no, I've been hitting on one, but then missing on the other one, so I haven't been doing too well.
Oh yeah, I've been at the point where I have, if I pick 3 players, I get 2 and I miss the third, which means you lose the, you lose the attempt in general. But I mean, I was on a hot streak, nailing everything. So I look to turn things around this evening.
So who else, aside from the under on Kenta Maeda, who else are you eyeing up over on Rival?
I am looking to go over on Zach Eflin. Tampa Bay is hosting the Kansas City Royals. I like the good chance for a win. Eflin goes pretty deep into the games. So I do like Eflin to go over. 18.57, kind of conservative number of points. He doesn't need the win to get that. Be nice if he did. And I'm also going Chris Bassett over Oakland. It's a little bit of picking on a lesser offense, but Bassett is just plain solid, I mean, he's going to have a blow up here and again, and it may be tonight. But he's kind of a guy you just put in your lineup, and you don't try to guess his good outings and time his poor outings. You just put him in your lineup, and you get your 3.6 ERA by the end of the season, and you're happy. I'm hopefully going to be happy. 15.5 points, that's not a lot. I mean, he's going to get that on innings and strikeouts alone against Oakland. So those are my 3 pitchers. I got 3 batters, but let's hear some of your other pitchers.
My other pitcher is going to be Clark Schmidt over 14.36 points. Now he has to face Texas, but Clark Schmidt kind of quietly, and it's hard to do it quietly when you're pitching for the Yankees, but quietly he's been pitching really well over his last 6 starts, a 2.56 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. Now he hasn't been especially dominant in that stretch, only 25 strikeouts in 31 2/3 innings, but 3 long balls. And this is a talent that I believed in. Got off to such a rough start.
Yeah, he did.
It's really good to see him recovering. Now, also in that stretch, I mentioned the K's haven't really been there. He's also only got 1 win over that stretch. So while he's routinely going 5+, the Yankees haven't really been supporting him. I think that probably changes pretty soon. 14.36 feels too low with the way Clark Schmidt has been pitching.
Who's pitching for the Rangers tonight? I should know this. I just don't remember.
Let's double check here.
Not that it matters too much, but
well, it matters. Let's double check here. It is Dane Dunning. 6-1.
I mean, you could almost, whatever you just said about Schmidt, almost plug in Dunning, and it's fairly close.
Yeah, that's
not
a bad point.
He's been surprisingly okay without a lot of strikeouts. So,
and Texas is the slight road favorite here in Yankee Stadium. Over under 8.5 runs.
Yeah,
I guess I'm a little skeptical on Dunning though, but you're right that a lot of those arguments do apply to
a little bit
to Dunning. Let's see what it was. His does he have a projection for tonight? No, I'm not seeing one for Dane Dunning, but
on Rival.
But yeah, I do like that just because he's been pitching so well. And Emmett Sheehan too, he was one of our picks last week, 14.28, and after the Reds just swept Houston, the team is not the same without Yordan Alvarez.
I wrote a little about that for my ESPN Daily Notes piece about, it made me not be confident to start Sheehan, but it's not the same Houston lineup, especially without Alvarez. And I think, doesn't Smith-Shawver have a Atlanta? Don't they have an interesting match tonight as well?
Well, they face the Reds.
Right. Okay. So, a week or three ago, use Smith-Shawver. Now it's not such a no-brainer, right? I mean,
he does get Luke Weaver on the other side. So
I will be.
This chance.
There's a segue. Here are my 3 hitters that I'm using.
I saw these.
I'm going. I apologize. I don't know. Hopefully, it's like a 12-11 Reds come from behind victory.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Ronald Acuna over 9.5, out over 9.9, facing Luke Weaver, and I like Matt Olson over 8.7. A home run's 14, so this is like a double and a run scored or double and an RBI will get you close to these numbers. And my last one, Freddie Freeman at home against JP France. I do the hitting more for fun because it's fun to turn on the games, and maybe not for you tonight with my picks, to turn on the games and root for your batter to club a double or put one over the fence, as opposed to rooting for him to strike out to get the under. So a smaller entry fee for my hitters, but it is fun. The larger entry fee for the pitchers, just to try to keep the bankroll where I need it. But anyway,
I'm gonna stick to the pitchers myself just because Schmidt, Sheehan, and the under on Maeda.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I have not been having a lot of luck with the over-unders on hitters in a specific day. So, the over-under, by the way. Over-under tonight in Cincinnati is 11 runs. Just wanted to mention.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. I mean, wind is apparently blowing out a little bit. 6 miles.
All right. Well, time for is that a 6:40 start?
Yep. 6:40.
Yeah, I thought so. So
either
have to play the turbo field on DraftKings.
All right. Well, anything else on your mind before we get into the 2-start pitchers for next week?
No, other than those few of you that are watching on YouTube, etc., can have like a little contest between the sweat balls on my face rolling down to see which gets to my chin first.
Unfortunately, it looks like your video's gone out on us.
Oh no! Well, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's all good. I just
it has.
Yeah, but it's I don't want you to.
It was there, right?
Yeah, it was there when we started.
Let's see. Well, as you start to introduce the pictures, I will start Cam. All right.
I just won't.
Here we go. Hey, we're back.
Oh, nice. I don't want you to worry too much about it.
No,
I have to adjust something. Let me see.
Great.
There we go. There we go.
It's off again.
Oh, what the heck?
All right.
Anyway,
whatever. I'm here. My voice is here. The RW is moving, so we're good.
We are good. All right. Well, let's get into the 2-start pitchers for the week of June 26th. By the way, Todd, I know you were like back in the day a wrestling guy. Did you ever play like Revenge or No Mercy for the 64?
No, I did not.
Random question. All right. Well, there were some classic WCW games that were released back then, and this coming week, the spiritual successor to those games comes out. So, as a huge nerd, I'm looking forward to it. But let's talk about the 2-star pitchers for June 26th, 2023. And Zach Gallen, Spencer Strider. We got some really easy ones off the jump. Zach Gallen's got to face Tampa Bay, but I think these guys pretty much matchup proof as 5s.
Absolutely.
So let me get those logged. We will recap these at the end of the show. All right. Let me just get one last thing logged here. I know that's stellar podcasting. All right, next up, Tyler Wells. He's going to face the Reds at home in Baltimore, and then he's got Minnesota coming to Baltimore. So 2 home starts. Tyler Wells, I don't think we've talked about him much, but he's kind of been one of the nice early season FAAB pickups. He's been pitching
a little bit of a blip last time, but I agree.
Yeah. 6-3, 3.22 ERA. My first thought was 4, but I guess at home he probably is a 4.
Yeah, no, I think he's a 4. Yeah, home run issues lately, but I think he's a 4.
Yeah, at home that seems right. Now, what about Garrett Whitlock versus Miami at Toronto? Scooped up a lot of spots, but if you're in a shallower league, going to Toronto is great, and Miami's played surprisingly well. But I sure would like to add Whitlock in shallower leagues where he's still available. So I'm going to go 3 on Whitlock.
Yeah, my Boston heart says 4. My unbiased brain says 3. So let's go 3.
Jameson Tyone. Overall numbers look pretty rough. And he was actually, oh well, with the London series, he was passed over for that second start. That's why.
Good on him. Lucky for him.
He only went 5 1/3, gave up 4 earned runs his last outing. So while we have both kind of been waiting and saying like, yeah, he's not a decent buy low or a decent ad off the waiver wire where he was cut, it still just is not coming together for Tyone.
You're right. Does that make him a 2? I guess.
Versus Philly versus Cleveland. I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Too
exciting about trotting him out. But.
Yeah, he was originally scheduled to work in the London series, which would have been. Who is scheduled now for Chicago? I know Justin Steele is.
Yeah, Steele and Stroman.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one. Stroman. Would I use him over the weekend? I don't know. In the London series.
I think you have to with the way he's pitched. But
yeah.
Maybe not.
He doesn't give up many fly balls, but man, that 392 to center, and that's moved back. But anyway, all right.
You can hear me, right, son?
I could hear the screen for a while.
All right. Yeah, I was having some issues there. Apologies, but it seems like everything's at least on track from us.
Yeah,
audio.
This podcast will not be submitted to the FSWA for the awards. We're going to pick another one.
Now, Andrew Abbott's rostered everywhere at this point. Well, should be anyway. Finally gave up his first few runs, but still got the victory. And aside from those, there were a couple of just kind of weakly hit fly balls that left Great American Ballpark. I thought he looked really good overall this week. So he's rostered. I'm not going to give him a 5, but at Baltimore Andrew Abbott's not a 2-star pitcher.
Right, but it's worth mentioning.
I saw him bolded, but not with the red dot next to him.
Yeah,
So Andrew Abbott's been awesome, but Brandon Williamson might be more widely available. I know he is at Baltimore versus San Diego. So Brandon Williamson, I didn't turn him loose in the stake league, but in a 16-team league, I do have him on my bench. And, maybe in a certain spot in a traditional league, I would think about it. So I'm going to give Brandon Williamson a 1.
every lefty does well against Colorado, but it's still nice to have seen 5 strikeouts, no walks in 5 frames against the Rockies at home. So that's promising. That's promising. I'm with you. At Baltimore, you don't love home again. You don't love either of them, but I'm going to agree with the one.
And Gavin Williams, who we talked about at the top of the show, got his call up and made his debut. Pretty much only had 1 bad inning and was pretty impressive otherwise. At Kansas City, at the Cubs. I'm not going to go 4 quite yet, but he's pretty much up there. So I'm going to go 3.
I still need to see. I'm going to go 2, but I understand where the 3 may come from.
Pretty exciting. And if you grabbed him, I think you're turning him loose. What about Connor Siebold? Any consideration at all at home for 2? It's got to be a 0, right?
That is a 0.
Oh, that's got to be.
Interesting to note the Rockies are home for 6, but that's a 0.
Michael Kopech. Well, I'm looking at the second guy here, Touki Toussaint. That's got to be a best guess. He was claimed by the White Sox, so he's on their 40-man roster. We'll see.
And he pitched well his last time out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was a little surprising. I think it was a predetermined that he was going to be let go.
Yeah,
regardless of how he pitched, Toussaint. But anyway, yeah, I mean, he pitched.
Good for him for doing well with his audition, at least.
Yeah, I mean,
getting another opportunity.
Shutout innings against Texas, the league leading runs, and it was on Cleveland, and Cleveland just called up Williams, so it must have been predetermined that was going to happen. But anyway, the White Sox need help, so you never know.
Yeah, good on Toussaint on parlaying that final opportunity into a new opportunity with the White Sox. We'll see if he does indeed get the start on Tuesday. I mean, probably going to go 0 there, frankly. But Kopech, I'll give a against the Angels and at Oakland. I think Kopech's probably a 4.
Yeah, I was wondering, how high you're going to go because I'm thinking 5 as well. But I think they're on the road. I think I'm going to go 4. But I really like what we're seeing. And I know it hasn't been perfect, but I like the improvements Kopech has made. I mean, looking at our depth chart and the depth chart in general, with Clevenger out, we only have 5 listed and Clevenger being the 5th and he's out. Unless it's a bullpen game, I don't know. I think Toussaint is going to, Jesse Schulten's in a bullpen type game maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think Toussaint's probably going to pitch.
Yeah, so definitely a name to at least keep in mind. I wouldn't start him, but would you give him a 1 courtesy 1?
You know what? I'm going to give him a 1. Hopefully we'll have more information by the end of the weekend.
Yeah. I'll give you a courtesy 1 there on Toussaint. All right, what about Matthew Boyd? He's got to face the Rangers in Texas, then at Colorado. So tough 2-step there for Matthew Boyd. I'm going to give him like a points league 1, I think. I don't think I can go higher than 1. Especially with Colorado.
Can't either. I mean, I'm tempted to do the 0 thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're the boss, if you say points leagues, if we're allowed points leagues 1s, sure, let's do that.
We make up the rules with this segment as we go along, and you are welcome to go the points league 1 as I did. Framber Valdez got to be a 5, right?
Has got to be a 5 is correct.
As a stud. Brady Singer. I think Brady Singer has been a thorn in our side for a few years.
He was fine last year, just a few months maybe.
Yeah.
He keeps pitching just well enough to say maybe next time.
Mm.
And guess what he did last time? Just well enough to say maybe next time, but it was against Detroit. I think I'm at the point where I'm out. I mean, 7 innings, 5 runs. You love the 7 innings, but only struck out 2.
Yeah.
I think I'm out. I think I'm finally out on Brady Singer, and that means he's going to do well next time. Okay, you're welcome, but I'm out. I'm going to go 1, but I'm out.
Okay, yeah, I'll give him a Matt Boyd 1, but yeah, that's about it. Jaime Barria has got a 2.14 ERA. but only 3 innings his last time out, 4 1/3. He did have a couple 5-inning outings before that, May 31st, June 7th. But yeah, Jaime Barria, just without the workload, I got to go 0.
It's to the point where you have to think about higher, but I think I'm still with you.
Until he's routinely throwing 5+.
I mean, the White Sox lineup isn't great. Arizona scares me. The RN, I am going to go 1. I am going to go 1.
Okay.
He's not pitching 5 innings, but I think he's ready to go 5. I think, all right, if we're allowed to tag it, I'm going to tag it as a draft champions 1.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome to tag it. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I'm not using him. He's not on my roster in a FAAB league, but in a draft champions, if I did pick him up, I probably would use him at this point. And my teams aren't very good, so that explains why.
Yeah, me neither, unfortunately. Clayton Kershaw, now he has to go to Colorado, but then he's at KC, so in my opinion, kind of levels out. And he's got a lot of experience pitching in Colorado.
Not very good, though. He's not very good there. He's my favorite pitcher to point out. Look what happens to Kershaw. And I know that the team isn't as good. I'm not going to say bench him, though. But I'm not going to go 5. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to go 4. But
I'm going to go 4.
I don't really see how you could bench him.
Yeah.
Now Sandy Alcantara has been, maybe one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I'm trying to think among players who went up that high. There have been some injuries, DeGrom, of course, but Alcantara's been huge bust. ERA over 5. Those warnings that you and others threw out there, some of us heeded those warnings and others did not. And the Ks, the 78 and 95 and 2/3 innings, the lack of Ks finally caught up to him. And it's a damn shame.
If there's any chance, speculative here, and I've written about it and mentioned it, any chance it's a pitch clock thing with Alcantara?
Could be. And I thought that was an interesting tout table conversation with the pitch clock and the other new rules, how it's affecting the game as entertainment, but maybe having an adverse effect on pitcher health and performance.
Yeah, my main thing, and I think I've mentioned this, is let's not do it's working victory laps just yet. Let's see how things play out over the season. Games are shorter, okay, that's fine. Let's see if there's any unintended consequences, like you're alluding to, injuries, drop in performance. Right now, the figureheads are doing, led by Bryan Cranston, are doing victory laps about what's happened. So, something I thought was interesting. It's related to Alcantara. One of the concerns was middle infield and ground balls. I haven't dug in deeper to this, but Sports Info Solutions had a tweet out that the Marlins have been the best at positioning their players within the current rules, which I think is interesting because that's what we were concerned about with Wendell and Arise. And did he just get another hit, Luis Arise? Wendell, and
now
Birdie
batting 500.
Yeah, whoever else is playing the middle infield, we were concerned. But apparently they're really good about positioning their players, which I'm glad that SIS is tracking it, and it's something I want to dig a little bit deeper into. But anyway, we have to grade them.
Yeah, it's at Boston, at Atlanta.
Oh, gosh. Who would have thought wouldn't consider, less than 4, but that's where I am.
I would consider less than 4. I'm not going less than 4, but it sounds like you are.
I'm just standing between a 2 and a 3. I mean, on the road, these two offenses, I think I'm going to go 2. I mean,
wow. Okay.
These offenses are. I know the Red Sox offense has been inconsistent, but it's back at home, and hopefully they'll remember how to hit at Fenway Park.
I hear you. I'm going to go 4. I guess I'm just still expecting better from him. But maybe it's time for me to adjust kind of baseline expectations. I guess if you have him, you're just kind of at the point where you have to hope he gets better to have any chance.
I'm starting him.
Yeah.
I guess the 2
reflects where he's actually at.
and we can't, or we would be if we could. A lot of time, we're not pointing to, oh, look at his left on base percentage, look at his soft contact, and he's been bad. He hasn't just been unlucky. He's been bad. But anyway.
True. Now, Colin Ray and Julio Teheran are the two-star pitchers from Milwaukee. Teheran's just been a huge surprise, and really, I mean, I wouldn't think he'd be like a comeback player of the year yet, but he might be up there for comeback player of the year if he keeps something like this up. Through 6 starts, he's got a 1.53 ERA. Colin Ray isn't. I mean, I may give Colin Ray a 1. Teheran's kind of inching toward 3 for me, I think.
23 strikeouts, 35 and a third innings, 8 walks.
Yeah.
Don't love it. I think we have a comeuppance soon. Last time out, 4 walks against 3 strikeouts to Arizona, but he shut him out. I think he's gonna, I think it's coming. I think I can't say 0 because I can't. But I think I'm gonna go 2. I think there's a comeuppance coming with Teheran.
Yep, I'm gonna go 2 as well. I was thinking
after 3, all that we're the same, but
well, you talked me down. I was at 3 initially, but
yeah.
You
now
talked me down.
Ray. You know what? I remember Ray's one good start, and he probably didn't have any other good ones. So a quick check. Yeah, 4 earned runs the last 2 times out. I'm remembering, he did shut out Baltimore over 5 frames. So, yeah, I'm going to give him a token 1, but I don't love it.
Well, let's pause real quick to bring you a quick word from our Blue Wire sponsors, and we'll be right back here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. All right, we're back here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Clay Link here with Todd Zola. We are looking ahead to the final week of June. Can you believe that? Final week of June already, June 26th. 2-star pitchers, grading them on a 0 to 5 scale. And Sonny Gray's, even though he's got to go at Atlanta, at Baltimore, I think he's earned a 5, and I'm not going to come off that given the matchups.
No, I agree. Absolutely, I agree.
All right. Justin Verlander versus Milwaukee versus San Francisco. So he's home for 2. Do you expect Verlander to pitch like a 5 this coming week?
Hasn't pitched like a 5 yet, has he?
No.
It's kind of tough. Was all he's old, he won't pitch well. Were we just a year late? Or is there something else happening this year? I mean, again, the 44 strikeouts. The strikeouts were down last year, but he still was over K an inning. Mm-hmm. 6 innings, 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, and 13. All right. I mean, he's not Justin Verlander, so it's not a 5. But do we trust that he's on his way back and go up to 4? You know what? I think he deserves that.
Yeah, I think he's a 4. I wouldn't go quite 5, but I could see him, at home.
At home, good pitching parks.
Against Milwaukee. And San Francisco's been great, but
yeah,
at home, I think very manageable matchups for Verlander. So 4, I'm with you there. Now, Jose Butto, we have plugged in. Our note for Tyler McGill when he was optioned noted that there was no word on who would replace McGill in the rotation, but Jose Butto is our best guess. I'm going to go 0, especially because we don't know and just guess.
What? All right. When do we have Butto scheduled to pitch? Tuesday?
Yeah, tentative. I mean, just
okay. So he would probably be scheduled pitching tonight. He last pitched the 18th. Butto last pitched the 18th in Buffalo. I'm talking about on the minors.
Yeah.
So if he pitches in the minors tonight, it won't be Tuesday. So that's just something that we'll have more information.
Yeah, that's a good
come
point.
Sunday. But yeah, he last pitched 5 innings stint against Buffalo in the minors, and he's been going 8 days between starts. 5, just the way the schedule's worked out. So we'll have to see. But he, his 5-day rotation would be tonight. I guess the best thing is if he doesn't go over the weekend, he's probably pitching Tuesday. And I'm not starting him anyway. It's just something to keep an eye on.
Wondering David Peterson's, what has he been up to at AAA? Let me take a quick peek. Yeah, David Peterson's been not very good at all at AAA Syracuse. He's got a 4.86 ERA, 1.62 WHIP. Yeah, I get why they probably, wouldn't give David Peterson a look there. Johnny Burrito. We talked about Jose Buto and now Johnny Burrito at Oakland, at St. Louis. Probably not, but if I was giving out point league ones earlier, I'm going to have to give Burrito a 1 too.
If the Yankee offense were providing more support, if you will, I would, he's got you'd think we'd have a chance, Burrito, of picking up a win here because the bullpen's still pretty good. Hasn't Burrito looked a little bit better lately? A
little bit. The Ks are so low.
Yeah, he had one good K game. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go 1 as well.
Okay. Next up, we have Paul Blackburn of the Oakland A's. Kind of an interesting potential ad this week. Let me get something logged here. Timestamp logged for all you timestamp lovers out there. So over his last few outings, Paul Blackburn, his last 3, he's pitched 16 2/3 innings, only 6 earned runs, does have 20 hits in that span, but a 21-3 K to walk.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive there. So this is a guy who, I wouldn't expect those kind of strikeout numbers to continue, but he does occasionally pop up on the radar, and home for 2 against the Yankees and then against the White Sox. I think I'm going to go 2 on Blackburn. I'm kind of interested, might pick him up in a spot or 2.
Yeah, I saw he was the opponent for Gavin Williams in Williams' debut, so a lot of people got to see Blackburn a little bit. I watch him as he should be throwing harder, big guy and everything. Maybe it's, perceived velocity, where he's releasing it from, et cetera. But, yeah, I'm going to go 2. And I've always liked him as a streamer when he's healthy in Oakland. I know that's not the situation here, but I'll go 2.
What about Ranger Suarez at the Cubs versus Washington?
Well, actually, I'm sorry. Blackburn is at home for both games.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I mentioned that, but
I unmentioned it. Yeah.
Okay. Ranger Suarez at the Cubs and then versus Washington. So on the road, then at home for a nice matchup against the Nats. Pitching well. So
yeah.
Geez, I'm gonna have to go 4, I think.
I agree. I mean, it could be one of those deserves a 5, but we save that for the elite, therefore saying 4. But he's been shoving lately.
Yeah, good for him, and bouncing back from some injuries in recent years and reestablishing himself as an important part of that rotation.
5 straight quality starts. Only 2 homers allowed in that time. Strikeouts have picked up, but in general over those 5 starts, 22 in 32 and 2/3, which we don't love, but it's been 22 over the last 19 innings. Suarez is back.
Now, what about 43-year-old Rich Hill versus San Diego versus Milwaukee? So home for 2. Man. I have him in a spot or 2, and I've been happy with the returns overall. I think I'm only going to go 2, but kind of like him and Blackburn. I think I like both those guys about the same for this week.
Different. We get there for different ways. They're different pitchers, but I agree. It's the good park. I think it's a 2.
What about you, Darvish? On the road for 2 and against NL Central opponents, Pittsburgh and then Cincinnati. Darvish, a 4.84 ERA, but I'm tempted to go 5 even with some hiccups. Are you there with Darvish at 5?
Yeah, the thing is he should be an automatic 5, but he has had the hiccups. Yeah. Cincinnati's not a walkover anymore. Pittsburgh isn't either. I'm gonna go 4. I don't think he's quite. I don't think he's quite there. I'm going to go 4. And you can say a little bit about the same as the offense is we don't know what kind of support he's going to get. He should be crushing it, or San Diego should be crushing it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good point. All right. Well, I got him as a 5, but I got you down as a 4. And Luis Castillo may be my favorite player in baseball. If you see me at the company event in a few weeks in Vegas, I probably will be wearing a Luis Castillo jersey at some point.
There we go.
He's running into some tough luck in terms of run support lately, but he's going to be a 5 for me versus Washington versus Tampa Bay. He's pitching like a 5. It just can't get really many wins to show for it lately.
Yeah, I will not be seeing you in that shirt this year, unfortunately. One of these years I'll return to Vegas.
Yeah,
I will be at the Cape Cod League instead.
Ooh, nice.
I will making my annual trip to the Cape Cod League during the All-Star break. I would like to get back. It's not so much Vegas. I just want to see the crowd again. But anyway, and play euchre. Play euchre. One of these, maybe next year. Things are falling into place. Maybe next year. Anyway, 5 for Castillo.
And not a 2-star pitcher, but Brian Wu is pretty interesting. He lines up for a home start against Washington next week. I'd definitely put in a bid if he's available. Alex Wood at Toronto at the Mets. ERA over 5. Man, tough assignment, tough call here on Wood. I think I'm only going to go. I'm going to go 2. Where are you at on Alex Wood?
Yeah, I mean, I happened to catch some of that shellacking last night, too. 6 earned runs and 3 1/3 Padres, because, I'm not ashamed to admit I like watching the Padres because I like listening to Don Orsillo. And he and Mudcat had some fun again last night. I'm going to go 1. I haven't seen a whole lot from Wood.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about Matthew Liberatore of the Arizona Cardinals? He's been pretty disappointing. That's easy to say. Now, that comes with the expectations of a guy who's had quite a bit of prospect hype, and maybe it's unfair to say he's been a disappointment so far. But in terms of overall numbers and what you're wanting for fantasy, he has been. But only 2 homers allowed in 25 innings. Ks, though, 18 Ks in 25 innings. Expected more than that from Liberatore. So let me double check what these matchups are. Versus Houston.
No. Houston and the Yankees.
Versus the Yankees.
On paper, hey, neither of them are hitting well. But aren't you scared that this is when they get good? I mean, they're due. I just said something that I hate when announcers, he's due. And part of my piece today was I wish announcers didn't say stuff like that. But anyway.
That's not how baseball works.
But anyway. I mean, 18 to 12 strikeout to walk, only 2 home. I mean, I'm only giving a 1. Yeah, I'm going to go 1. Remember last week we disagreed. This week we're agreeing a lot. I'm going to go 1 as well.
Now, kind of on the other side of the coin, Taj Bradley's been really impressive and continues to impress. His most recent outing, he only walked 1 over 6 innings. So he completed 6 for the first time as a big leaguer. 1 earned run on a homer, 8 Ks, no walks. At Arizona, it'll be opposite Gallen than opposite Castillo tentatively. So at least the way things line up now, he'll face a couple tough guys on the opposite side, and Gallen and Castillo. But at Arizona, at Seattle, with the way he's been pitching, I'm going to give Taj Bradley 4.
I didn't realize he had 71 punch-outs in 49 innings.
Yeah.
And I mean,
this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, 15-1 for my selfish Stratomatic purposes. I'm loving this. I don't know. I'm guessing that 3.86 ERA is high.
It does feel like it.
Looking
feels like
down,
it's better than that.
Yeah, looking down at our numbers, I should go to Fangraphs. 67.3 left on base is low. So I think he's pitched into some bad luck. Anyway, what are the matchups? I'm going to Arizona and Seattle.
At Arizona, at Seattle.
Oh, gosh. It should be I'm going to say 5. He's pitching like a 5, and he's had enough outings under his belt that I'm going to say 5. Those strikeout numbers are ridiculous.
And by the way, for those kind of waiting bated breath on news on Shane McClanahan. Still waiting here. Last we heard that Kevin Cassidy hopes McClanahan will be okay after receiving treatment on his back Thursday, but pulled with mid-back tightness and still uncertainty. So that could be a huge blow if that ends up being something.
I think it kind of went under the radar on Twitter. I think it was just a night where not a lot of people were on Twitter because there wasn't a lot of games. It's just kind of like, normally when someone of that nature gets hurt, Twitter blows up. But anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, we'll see. By the way, we had a question about AJ Smith-Shawver in the chat, thinking about picking him up. Over-under is 11 runs tonight, so could be a tough one tonight, but definitely should be rostered, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the league format, to me, he's still a streamer.
Yeah.
I don't want to stream him tonight, but, I mean, sometimes you have to pick him up and reserve him because someone else will. I am nervous about tonight.
Yeah, same. Okay, wrapping things up here. Nathan Eovaldi versus Detroit versus Houston. And he's pitched great. I did turn down a trade for him just today for Ketel Marte just because my offense is so bad. I need Marte. And as good as Eovaldi's been, he's had a ton of injury issues throughout his career. He's kind of been bit by the gopheritis in recent outings. So I turned down a 1-for-1 Eovaldi for Ketel Marte this morning. And as good as he's pitched, he does have to face Houston. I guess he's a 5.
Yeah, he's at home. Texas is a good place to pitch. He's a 5.
Rejecting that was more to do with my team setup than anything. And
it sounds like whoever offered you the trade didn't look at your strengths and weaknesses, and they wanted Eovaldi. They wanted Marte and didn't take into consideration if you could afford to give him up. But anyway.
Well, also, as I mentioned, I have Gavin Williams. So I'm kind of hoping to slot in Williams and help my rotation that way without subtracting from my offense. Okay, so Eovaldi's 5. What about Martin Perez? Same 2-step for him versus Detroit versus Houston.
He has not been, he has not been great.
No.
Not getting strikeouts, which count in the categories. I'm going to give him a 2.
I'm going to go 3, but I got you down to 2. That makes sense.
Look at the recent strikeouts. 3-3, 5-2, 3-2.
Well, he's never been a strikeout machine.
Well, no, but it's been higher than that. Mm-hmm. It's been like, if it's 5 innings, it's 4. If it's 6 innings, it's 5. One fewer than the number of innings. He's well below that base.
Yeah. Now, Kevin Gausman, he's going to be a 5, right?
Oh, yeah.
We don't need to spend much time there. And then finally, Trevor Williams. He's pitched better than I realized. At Seattle, at Philly, though. Maybe a 1. I never liked picking up Trevor Williams.
No, right. I don't either. So I don't do it.
Yeah, I'm going to go 0. Screw it. I won't see it.
Yeah, you know what? Same argument. No strikeouts. He had a couple 6 strikeout games, but no, I'm going to go 0 as well. Too much of a blow-up potential.
Well, I got a text from James that Reds Braves tonight officially sold out. So the excitement is high in Cincinnati.
I was afraid you were going to say rained out because that would have initiated a bunch of things I needed to do on my end. So thankfully you said sold out.
Well, we have a lot of rainouts over there in Cincinnati early in the year, but thankfully no, sold out. So people are excited. And 11 straight wins. Can you believe it? I feel like Bob Odenkirk from I Think You Should Leave. I had a poster of her on my wall that I married her. Can you believe it? Just seems really unlikely that the Reds would win 11 straight, but going for 12 should be fun. Anything else on your mind today, Todd, as we wrap things up?
You said Odenkirk. Now, is Mr. Show out of your realm? That would be in your realm.
I love that.
That would be in your realm, right? With David Cross.
RotoWire's Mario Puig actually got me onto Mr. Show years and years ago.
Oh, yeah, that was a while ago. But him and David Cross were...
Oh, those guys are hilarious.
It wasn't for everybody, but if you were into it, you loved it.
Did you ever see the the movie they made together, Run, Ronnie, Run? I thought that was
No, I didn't. I think I've heard of it, but have not seen it. But anyway,
I thought that was pretty
needed to
good.
get you back, over the Love Boat thing. We're now on Mr. Show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Something more in my wheelhouse. Well, thank you, Todd. And thank you all for stopping through and hanging out.
You want to do the review of the numbers, or are we not going to?
Oh, geez. Good call. I almost completely forgot to do that. All right. Let's review our grades. Yes, that's something we always do to cap off the show. Let me get the timestamp down. Okay. So at the exactly 1 hour and 30-second mark, we have Zach Gallen, 5. Spencer Strider, 5. Some easy ones. Then Tyler Wells, 4. Garrett Whitlock, 3. Jamison Tyone, 2. Brandon Williamson, 1. Gavin Williams, I say 3. Todd, 2. Needs to see a little bit more. Connor Siebold, 0. Michael Kopech, 4. Tuki Toussaint, I say 0. Todd, 1. Matt Boyd, 1. Framber Valdez, 5. Brady Singer, 1. Jaime Barria, I say 0. Todd, 1. Clayton Kershaw, 4. Sandy Alcantara, I say 4. Todd, 2. Colin Ray, 1. Julio Tehran, 2. Sonny Gray, 5. Justin Verlander, 4. Jose Buto, 0. Johnny Brito, 1. Paul Blackburn, 2. Ranger Suarez, 4. Rich Hill, 2. Yu Darvish, I say 5. Todd, 4. Luis Castillo, 5. Alex Wood, I say 2. Todd, 1. Matthew Liberatore, 1. Taj Bradley, I say 4. Todd, 5. Nathan Eovaldi, 5. Martin Perez, I say 3. Todd, 2. Kevin Gausman, 5. And then finally Trevor Williams, 0. All right. Anything else with you, Todd?
Nah, we kept them too long already. All good.
Yeah.
Enjoy some good ball this weekend. Don't forget London series. Go runs.
Yeah. And yeah, Matt Leahy, the Reds are America's team. So thank you for that in the chat. Go Red Legs, and you're all welcome on the bandwagon. So see you there. And Todd, talk to you next week, okay?
All right, man.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast.